Input, advertising effort. Your output is engaged leads, period. Now we are crystal clear on the stuff you do, the core four, and like we learned, maximizing the core four, you just got to put in more and do it better than before. We started with the rule of 100, but when you make that the norm, you're ready to take it to the next level with the rule of 100 on steroids, open to goal. A very successful gym chain allowed their sales managers to make their own schedules, but there was a catch. They had to sign up 5 new members per day no matter what. So if they did it by lunch, they could pay out early, but if it took 18 hours, so be it. They called this type of work schedule open to goal. I found that elite entrepreneurs and salespeople across industries do some variation of open to goal. This is because it's like the rule of 100, but for the big kids. You don't just commit to doing something a specific number of times, you commit to the work until you hit a specific number of outcomes, no matter what. So it means you unlock a whole new level of effort you never even realized you had. It might mean only doing something 50 times to get the desired result. Or, like the flyers, 5,000 times every day for years. If you want to take your advertising to the next level, work until the job is done. Give up the idea of, quote, doing your best. Instead, do what is required. Sometimes that means your best just needs to get better. How I make open to goal work for myself. If I had to pick 3 habits that best serve me in my life, they would be, number 1, waking up early, 4 to 5 a.m. Pro tip, this actually means going to bed early. 2, getting right to work. No rituals, no routines, I drink coffee and get to work. 3, no meetings until noon. No interruptions, nothing, fully focused work time. To be clear, I don't think there's any magic about waking up early, but I do think there's magic in a long stretch of uninterrupted work immediately after a long stretch of uninterrupted sleep. After all, it's the most productive hours in a row of the most productive work I can do, with nothing getting in my way, every single day. How can you lose? And since I have a good idea of what I can do in a day, I set my daily goal accordingly. Then, only after my dedicated block of work, do I put out fires, talk to humans, and deal with other day-to-day stuff. Waking up early, getting right to work, and working 8 hours straight has been my highest ROI, quote, habit stack by a long shot. If you choose to try it, I hope it serves you as well as it served me, or better. And for those of you thinking, wait, that's more than 12 hours of work a day. You're right, I'm playing to win. But if it overwhelms you at first, I get it. Just throttle it back a few hours and work your way up. Some days it's tough, but I always like to remind myself, do more than they do, and you will have more than they have. Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just try to remind myself, this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. Since my job is usually to get more customers in most of my companies, advertising is what I focus on. This book, for example, was written exclusively in that open to goal time block. Why? Because it's an asset that can bring me more companies. So, if you're going to follow my high ROI habit stack, then you're going to want a clear action plan for that time. This is the simplest advertising plan I can give you. 1-page advertising checklist. Step 1, pick the type of engaged leads to get. Customers, affiliates, employees, or agencies. Step 2, pick rule of 100 or open to goal. Commit to your daily advertising actions. Step 3, fill out the advertising checklist for that daily action. Who? You. What? Your offer or lead magnet. Where? The platform. To whom? Your audience or list. When? Your first 8 hours every day. Why? Get X engaged leads or lead getters. How? Warm or cold outreach, content or ads. How much? 100 or until you hit your goal. How many? The number of follow-ups and time retargeted. For how long? 100 days or until you hit your goal. Step 4, do this daily action until you have enough money to afford paying someone else to do it. Step 5, when you do, go back to step 1. Make employees your new target lead type. And then repeat steps 1 through 4 until you have the help you need. Then scale again. Conclusion. Lots of pages, so many ideas, we're almost at the end. But you don't have any more leads. What gives? Answer. Reading doesn't get people interested in the stuff you sell. Advertising does. If you're not telling anyone about the stuff you sell, then you aren't getting anyone interested in your stuff. Period. This chapter laid out the plan to advertise in the simplest way I could. Work open to goal, structure your day to make open to goal possible, create and commit to that goal with the 1-page advertising checklist. Many skip planning, or worse, they write a 100-page plan that never gets used. So skip the atrocious waste of time that is writing pages of baloney. Harness the power of laying out your action steps in a single page. It leaves little room for excuses, distractions, or delusions. You either did the stuff or you didn't. You can fill out your 1-page advertising checklist in about 5 minutes. And once the naked truth stares back at you, all you have left is to do it. I have a free training that will help you support the open to goal and rule of 100 checklist so you can print it out and fill it out for yourself and execute it on a daily basis. If you want that, go to acquisition.com/training/leads. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the book chapter that you're listening to right now, $100 Million Leads. I took a long time putting it together for you. And so my only ask is that you just take a quick second and leave a review for the book on Amazon. It's the #1 way that people find books. And this is a way of getting more people into our world. And so our mission at acquisition.com is to make real business education accessible to everyone, and I need your help. And so if you could do that, just that one small action, as a trade for the 2 years that I took putting this book together for you, it would mean the world to me. So thank you. The roadmap, putting it all together. 0 to 100 million. A leader must aim high, see big, judge widely, thus setting himself apart from ordinary people who debate in narrow confines. Charles de Gaulle, French president during World War II. To get where you want to go, it pays to know what lies ahead. So in this chapter, I describe the phases you will go through as you scale your advertising. Acquisition.com uses this roadmap to scale our portfolio companies from a few million a year all the way to 100 million plus. These levels will help you identify where you are on the advertising totem pole so you know what to do to get to the next level. Level 1. Your friends know about the stuff you sell. To start getting engaged leads, you make one offer to one avatar on one platform. The moment you get engaged leads is the moment you can start making money. For me, this started when I started reaching out to everyone I knew. Primary action. Warm outreach. Level 2. You consistently let everyone you know about the stuff you sell. You know the exact inputs to get an engaged lead with your chosen advertising method. And by scaling those inputs, you get consistent customers with it. But the consistent customers come from maximizing your personal work capacity. For me, on top of warm reach outs, I maximize my personal work capacity with paid ads, using a case study as my lead magnet. But looking back, I wish I would have started posting free content, so I suggest that. Primary actions, do as much warm outreach and post as much content as you can, consistently. Level 3, you get employees to help you do more advertising. You've maxed out your personal advertising inputs, but not the platform. And if you want more engaged leads, that can only mean one thing, doing more. For me, I hired a videographer and a media buyer to take most of the paid ads work off my plate. Primary action, you hire people to advertise profitably on your behalf. Level 4, your product is good enough to get consistent referrals. You continue building goodwill and shoot for getting 25% or more of your customers from referrals. Now you've set yourself up to ramp your advertising again. But to make that work, You have to get more serious about hiring a team to make it happen. This is when I realized that my ads were shut off, but I was still getting referrals every week. So I doubled down on referrals. I built goodwill using customer feedback to update my product every 2 weeks. I also started a strong referral program with big incentives at the same time. Primary action. Focus on your product until you get consistent referrals, then go back to scaling your advertising with a bigger team. This is where most people mess up. They let their product slip and never recover. Level 5. You advertise in more places in more ways with more people. First, you expand to new audiences on your best platform. Then you make ads with all placements and media types the platform supports. And after your team can get consistent results, you expand your team again to add another platform, lead getter, or core 4 activity. For me, I hit 2 birds with 1 stone. I expanded my paid ads to include potential affiliates, and this paved the way for my affiliate programs. Primary action. Advertise profitably using at least 2 methods on multiple platforms. Level 6. You hire killers. Your executives grow departments specific to an advertising method or platform without you. And you're not looking for potential. You're looking for experienced leaders specializing in exactly what you want. We capped here. It took me 3 years to figure out 2 things. 1, that I needed veteran executives with experience suited to my problems. And 2, that they needed stronger incentives. But by the time I realized this, I sold those companies. Once I started acquisition.com, I realized the power of expanding the pie to get more of the right people invested in winning. This is how we crossed 100 million plus, then 200 million plus in portfolio revenue and beyond. Primary action. Get battle-hardened executives and department heads to take over new advertising activities and channels. Pro tip. Hire experience, not potential. I tried cold reach outs twice before it worked the 3rd time. The main reason, the person I hired to run it. First, I tried someone external with experience. That failed. Then I tried internally with no experience. That failed. Then finally, I tried internally with experience. That worked. Since it's a people-heavy, operationally complex machine, the person you hire to manage the team matters a lot. Pick experience. They should know more than you do. If you're not learning from them in the interview, you've got the wrong person. Level 7. I'll come back and edit this chapter once I cross 1 billion. I promise. I'll send the lessons as soon as I have them. You have my word. Last point. I know this looks clean, but it never is. Real business is messy. It takes a lot to find out what audiences, lead magnets, method, and platforms work best. And you can only find out what works if you try. So you have to try a lot of different things, a lot of different ways for a long enough time to know for sure. Nobody can ever know the absolute best thing to do. But I do know this. The more you advertise, the more people will find out about the stuff you sell. The more people who know about the stuff you sell, the more people who buy it. This is the key to the $100 million leads machine. The $100 million leads machine. Let's look into your future. Your business makes $100 million plus in annual revenue. It's great to have a clear picture of what $100 million machine looks like. Let's have a look, shall we? First and foremost, your advertising fires on all cylinders. Your media team scales tons of free content in all media types on many platforms. You regularly make offers to your warm audience to get more customers or affiliates. Your ravenous audience makes anything you launch immediately profitable. You have teams running and scaling profitable paid ads across multiple platforms. Your cold outreach team gets you more customers. You have an affiliate manager launching and integrating all new affiliates. You have recruiters and recruiting agencies bringing in more lead getters. Your product is so good that 1/3 of your customers bring you more customers. Your executive team drives all this growth and value, and you have more engaged leads than you can possibly handle. How long does this take? For business owners who don't know what to do, anywhere from 5 to 10 years. Building something great, even if you know exactly what to do, takes time. And so many like to trumpet overnight success. But looking behind the curtain tells a different story. It took my wife and I more than 10 years of our best effort to cross my first 100 million in net worth. So the bigger your goals, the longer time horizons need to be. You want to play games where if you wait, you win. Entrepreneurship isn't for the faint of heart. The load is heavy and the road is long. Free gift. Scaling from 0 to 100 million plus. Sometimes it's useful to hear a narrative of what each stage is like. If you know what comes next, you can start preparing for it today. I recorded a free tutorial where I help you identify where you're at, what comes next so you can win faster. You can grab the tutorial free at, you guessed it, acquisition.com/training/leads. A decade in a page. We've covered a lot, and I think organizing what we learned in one place helps it sink in. So I made this back of napkin list of what we covered and why. Number 1, how to define a lead from this point forward. Now you know what you're after. Engage leads, not just leads. 2, how to turn leads into engaged leads with an offer lead magnet, and how to make them. 3, the core 4. The only 4 ways we can let other people know about the stuff we sell. A, how to reach out to people who know us, ask them if they know anybody. B, how to post publicly, hook, retain, reward, give until they ask. C, how to reach out to strangers, lists, personalization, big fast value, volume. D, how to run paid ads to strangers, targeting, callouts, what, who, whens, CTAs, client finance acquisition. 4, maximizing the core 4, more, better, new. What keeps us from doing what I'm currently doing at 10 times the volume, then solving for that. B, finding the constraint of our advertising, then testing until it frees the constraint, then doing more until it gets constrained again. 5, the 4 lead getters, customers, employees, agencies, and affiliates. How to get customers to refer other customers, how to get employees to scale your advertising without you, how to get an agency to teach you new skills, how to get affiliates launched and integrated. 6, when advertising in the real world, the rule of 100 and open to goal. The 5-step, 1-page advertising plan to get more leads today. 7, the 7 levels of advertisers in the $100 million leads machine in action. As I promised in the beginning, the result of these bullets is more, better, cheaper, reliable, engaged leads. I hope this book provides you utility. I hope as a result of reading this, you know how to get more leads than you currently are. And I hope I unmask the mystery behind lead getting. Also, since you're one of the few actually finished what you start, I want to leave you with a parting gift, a fable that has gotten me through my hardest times. The many-sided die. Imagine you and a friend play a dice rolling game. You are each given 1 die. One of the die has 20 sides. The other has 200. On each die, only 1 side is green, and the rest are red. The point of the game is simple. Roll green as many times as you can. The rules of the game are as follows. You can't see how many sides you have. You can only see if you roll red or green. If you roll green, one of your red sides turns green, and you get to roll again.
Okay,
if you roll red, nothing happens, and you get to roll again. The game ends when you stop rolling, and if you stop rolling, you lose. What do? You roll. When you roll red, you pick up the die and roll again. When others roll green, you pick up your die and roll again. When you roll green, you pick up the die and roll again. You keep telling yourself one thing. The more I roll, the more greens I get. At first, you roll green once in a while. But as more red sides turn green, the greens happen more. With enough rolls, hitting green becomes the rule rather than the exception. What does your friend do? He rolls a few times and hits a red each time. He sees you roll a green and complains that you must have a die with fewer sides. He reasons it's the only way you could have rolled green before him. And although you did, you also rolled many more times. So which is it? In either case, he rolls a few more times in frustration and hits a green. But then he complains about how long it took. He spent more time watching you and complaining than actually playing. Meanwhile, you've hit your green streak. It's so much easier for you, he tells himself. You get greens every time. This game is rigged. What's the point? He quits. So who got the die with 20 sides, and who got the die with 200 sides? If you get the game, then you see, once you roll enough times, the die you're given doesn't matter. The die with fewer sides might roll green sooner. The die with more sides might roll green later. But a die with a green side always has a chance of rolling green if you roll it. Every die hits its green streak when rolled enough times. All of us get a many-sided die, and looking at the other players, you have no idea if it's their 100th roll or their 100,000th roll. You don't know how good other players are when they start. You can only see how well they do now. But if you understand the game, you also know it doesn't matter. A few begin playing early, others begin much later. The rest sit on the sidelines complaining about how lucky the players are. I guess so, but they're lucky because they play. And when they hit red, which they do, they didn't quit. They rolled again. Learning to advertise is a lot like the game of many-sided die. You do not know if it will work until you try, and when you start advertising, you will probably hit red on your first few rolls. But if you try enough times, you will hit green. And when it works, you have a better chance of getting it to work again. The more you do, the easier it gets. You begin to understand the game. No matter how many players there are, or the number of sides in the die you're given, you start to see there are only two guarantees. One, the more times you roll, the better you get. Two, if you quit, you lose. So here's my final promise. You cannot lose if you do not quit. Free goodies, call to action. If it's free, it's for me. I'm going to give you a bunch of free stuff in a second, so stay tuned. Dr. Kashi, my editor, and I spent over 3,500 hours on this book. We wrote 650 plus pages and 19 graphs with varying frames, themes, and focal points. But ultimately, the changes left only the most distilled, need-to-knows inside. We went through 127 pages of hand-drawn models to carve out the few that made it in the book. All that to say, I hope this work results in you growing the business of your dreams. When I look back on my life, these books will be among the things I'm most proud of. I wouldn't be able to write as fervently if I didn't think people would read it. And as much as I strive to be the man who would work as hard if nobody cared, I'm not there yet. Your support and positivity make a difference for me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to do the work I find meaningful. I am forever grateful. If you are new to Motivation, welcome. We believe in big ambitions and matching our ambitions with giving and patience. And I have a personal goal in that spirit of giving, to die with nothing left to give. So if you are still with me, thank you. I want to provide some more free goodies. Number one, if you're struggling to figure out who to sell to, I'll give you this chapter called Your First Avatar between this book and the last. Think of it like a single from a music album. You can get it for free at acquisition.com/avatar. Just pop in your email and we'll send it over. Two, if you're struggling to figure out what to sell, you can go to Amazon or wherever you buy books and search Alex Hormozi and $100 million offers. It should get you on the right path. The digital version is the cheapest the platform will let me make it and still listed as a book. Three, if you're struggling with getting people to buy, my next book will be on persuasion and sales. It may or may not be out by the time you read this. It'll either be called $100 million sales or Persuaded. I haven't decided yet. But if you search my name, you can look for any of the books that may be out by the time you read this. Number four, if you want a job at acquisition.com or in one of our portfolio companies, we love hiring for Motivation. We love doing this because we found our best returns investing in great people. Go to acquisition.com/careers/open jobs and you can see all the job openings across our companies and our portfolio. Five, if your company is over $1 million in EBITDA profit, we'd love to invest in your business to help you scale. It brings so much pleasure to know our portfolio companies have grown much bigger and much faster than mine because they avoided the mistakes I made. If you want us to take a look under the hood, see if we can help, go to acquisition.com. Saying your info is fast and easy. Six, to get the free book downloads and video trainings that come with this book, go to acquisition.com/trainings/leads. Seven, if you like listening to podcasts and want to hear more, my podcast at the time of this writing is top 5 in entrepreneurship and top 15 in business in the US. You can get there by searching Alex Hormozi wherever you listen, or by going to acquisition.com/podcast. I share useful and interesting stories, valuable lessons, and the essential mental models I rely on every day. 8, if you like to watch videos, we put a lot of resources into our free training available for everyone. We intend on making it better than any paid stuff out there, and let you decide if we succeeded. You can find our videos on YouTube or wherever you watch videos by searching Alex Hormozi. 9, and if you like short-form videos, check out the bite-sized content we pump out on the daily at acquisition.com/media. You'll see all the places we post, and you can pick the ones you like the most. And that run. Awesome. And last, thank you again. Please be one of those givers and share this with other entrepreneurs by leaving a review. It would mean the world to me. I'm sending you business building vibes from my desk, and I spend a lot of time there, so it's a lot of vibes. May your desire be greater than your obstacles. I hope to meet you and your company soon. Until then, ad astra, which is just fancy Latin words for to the stars or thus among the stars or just super motivational stuff. Anyways, you're awesome for listening. I hope this totally served you. My name is Alex, and I hope to see you soon. This has been $100 Million Leads, written by Alex Hormozi, read by Alex Hormozi. Copyright 2023, acquisition.com. Audio production, copyright 2023, acquisition.com media. And it is now officially the end of the beginning. That wraps up the $100 Million Leads collaboration, self-licking ice cream cone, riding a magic carpet of myself, where I am both Aladdin and the carpet, promoting my own thing for free, where I can't monetize either of them, on my own podcast. And so, if you want to have this thing without having to fish through the episodes, you can always grab a physical copy, a digital copy, or the audiobook if you prefer to have Audible, so you can search through it and all that kind of stuff. It's all available on Amazon. And if you got to this and this podcast seemed at least interesting to you, I have a whole bunch of other podcasts where I talk about making more money and growing businesses and making better products and scaling and all the many scars and lessons I've learned along the way in my first decade in business. And so if you want, let me tell you the top 5 episodes that we've ever had on the podcast, and you can start there. Episode 486, Breaking the Poor Mindset. Episode 481, 42 Rules of Money. Episode 496, Conversations That Changed My Life. Episode 482, 100K per month with no employees. And episode 464, Ways to Make $1 million. All right, so you can go and start any of those. If you want to just have the first one, it's episode 486. And if you've been freeloading this whole time and listening to the podcast and you've never shared it, and you've never left a review, and you didn't go to Amazon and leave the book a review, even though you didn't buy the book, so leave it a review. Pay it forward. It'll come back to you. Hope you enjoy the rest. Real quick, guys, if you can think about how you found this podcast, somebody probably tweeted it, told you about it, shared it on Instagram or something like that. The only way this